Hey, so did you know that you can finance in your buyer's agent commission into the sales price of the home or into the mortgage? That's correct. The new NAR settlement has kind of shaken things up for some people, and there's a little confusion on how all this is going to play out. So I wanted to provide some information for you as a buyer, a seller, or real estate agent to explain some of the ways that we can make sure that all this gets handled to make sure the buyer's agent is compensated properly. So I'm going to break down four options side by side. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you the seller paid compensation. This is a standard scenario that we've seen for the last 30 years I've been in the business. The listing agent has an agreement with the seller. Compensation is set to cover X percentage. Part goes to the listing agent, part goes to the buyer's agent. Hey, it's in the deal. And in this example, I'm showing $500,000 as our sales price with 20% down, so financing $400,000 in this scenario. You'll see in this case, the payment is $34.24, and the cash to close is about $112,000 in this example. So, and that's because we have a 20% down payment. So your down payment in this example is $100,000. That means there's about $12,500 in closing costs and prepaid items in this scenario. Now, the next option is going to be the no seller paid compensation. So what that means is, in this case, the seller says, hey, I'm not going to pay for the compensation for the buyer's agent. We have the same sales price, the same loan amount. And in this case, you'll see that the cash to close has gone from 112 to 127 because the buyer in this example is bringing that extra $15,000 in this example to the closing to make sure the buyer's agent has been compensated. You'll see, of course, in this example, the payment stays the exact same for principal, interest, taxes, insurance. Now, the third option is going to be you add the compensation to the sales price. In this case, we're going from that $500,000 again, and we're jumping up to a $515,000 sales price. So we've asked the seller to cover. We said, hey, they want a net $500,000, and you say no problem. Well, we're going to ask you to accept the price at $515,000. Seller, you then pay that 3% compensation over to the buyer's agent in this example. So the seller nets the same $500,000 that they were expecting. You'll see in this case that your cash to close has gone from 112 on the old way per se. It's gone up by about 3,000 in that case to about 115. Why has the cash to close gone up? Well, because now we're doing 20% down payment and closing costs based on a $515,000 price, not a $500,000 price. So all in all, though, the payment is about $100 difference in that scenario. 102 is what I'm showing there. That's a way that in a lot of cases we're going to see that's how it's going to be done. Now, the home, of course, has to appraise out at that number. Now, what happens, though, if we want to go to option number 4, which is we add the compensation to the loan? Now, this doesn't work quite the way that people think. You can't necessarily finance it in blindly, right? If it's a $500,000 house and you're putting nothing down, you can't just simply throw the compensation back up without adjusting the sales price. But this is how it works. Again, in this example, we're doing 20% down on the other scenarios. In this case, we're doing 17% down, financing 83% rather than 80%. So you'll see we've gone from a loan amount of $400,000 to $415,000. We've left the sales price the same at the $500,000. You'll see in this case now the payment has gone to $35.56 as opposed to $34.24. So it's a $132 difference in that case. So your monthly payment has gone up a bit, but you'll see your cash to close is almost identical right there at that 112 number. So those are the 4 ways that you can make sure the buyer's agent compensation is handled in this. Now, there's going to be lots of questions as people are trying to figure out the new way, right? Navigate the waters of this. If you want to see numbers and how this would look on your particular scenario, please let me know. I'll be happy to run those scenarios on different loan products and things. But in this case, the net, the bottom line is you've got all these different options that you can do. The swing is about $100, $132 a month, basically, and the cash to close would be about 112 to 127 on the high side. So it's not a monumental number. The monthly payment is not a monumental shift, right? $132, it's a pretty good number, but if you're spending $500,000 for a house, the 132 is probably not going to make or break your budget. You need to work this out with your buyer's agent, right? Have a conversation with them. They can advise you on the proper houses that you can see that are available out there, right? They can also let you know what the market is and whether it's going to be a good move for you to purchase those houses, because they know the markets, I know the mortgages. So be sure to work with your buyer's agent. If you have any questions in particular about this, and if you want to see numbers run for your particular scenario, let me know. We can have a strategy session and determine the best way to put this together for you as you purchase your new home. So, hey, any questions, you can find me at davidwakefield.com or hit me up on the cell at 904-237-1450. Make it a great day. Folks, talk to you soon. Bye for now.